Crystal Things, the podcast where we are on some manifest your life, shift your mind, and raise the consciousness type of shit. I am Christy.
And I am Mia, and you can consider us your spiritual girlfriends.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, y'all.
Hey.
Woo, child. Okay, before we get into this recording tonight, which, by the way, is on the
moon.
super full blue moon.
It is so beautiful.
Oh, my goodness. Y'all, I feel like, seriously, I feel like I got a little...
Mia's drunk in love right now.
Yes, that energy. Oh my goodness, y'all! I'm gonna post the pictures that I took off of Christy's roof. They were amazing. Like, yeah. Anyway, so before we go into our episode, I want to just remind you guys to check out our women's retreat.
Mm-hmm.
We have some spots left. It is September 22nd through the 24th.
Yep.
Go to our website, 2 Queens and Crystal Things, and check it out. Register for this event. It's all women. This is definitely a goddess awaken and activate event. And I am so looking forward to this. It's time for us to, connect with our community.
It is.
Build our tribe and,
and get your seats while you can.
The consciousness type of shit. What we've been talking about for a long time. So anyway.
Get your tickets at this price while you can, because they're not going to, future retreats will not be at this price.
This is jam-packed. This is jam-packed with some, but in a not jam-packed where you're running around, but I mean just energetically, we're going to have us a good time. Okay, so last week we did a series on soul contract. We started one, and so, just in case you guys remind you, soul contracts are agreements that we make with other souls before we incarnate here on earth, in order to support our spiritual growth, help us on our journey, help us in our process, something that we came together and agreed to do for each other, okay? So last week, which was part 1, we talked about the karmic relationships. So about karmic relationships. So a karmic soul contract, to recap, is a soul agreement that involves unfinished business from past lives. And for whatever the reason, the relationship had in that past incarnation carries some unfinished business and some unresolved issues. So there's something that needs to be resolved there. So there's probably, this is more of a triggering situation, right?
So, River and your neighbor, I think they have some unresolved business.
You know what? You might be right.
I'm going to let Mia share this story about her cat, and then we're going to move into part 2 of today's episode.
Oh, man. My cat is so petty. So, where I live, it's like a community, like a little duplex. Everyone kind of faces each other, and we have this beautiful courtyard, trees. It's really beautiful. So my cat goes out there, minds his business, and has a good time. Now, most people in the community love him. They'll text him like, "Oh, River's over here. Is it okay if I let River in?" It's fine. Well, there's one woman who is terrified of cats. So all of a sudden, every time River gets out the dang on house, he goes straight to this woman's damn front steps. Every single fucking time. Now he knows. So this woman is terrified. She's emailing the board, y'all. It was a thing.
He was on the agenda.
Nigga, they had Exhibit A picture of my baby in the board meeting. I was looking at River like, you raggedy. Like, come on, dude. So, yeah. And I keep asking him, like, Riv, why of all the places to go? And, like, you know what I mean? Like,
he has some unfinished business.
He got, this is a karmic relationship. I mean, it's a thing. I can't believe he keeps going over there because I know he knows. That's the thing. And he doesn't meow. He just sits there in front of her door. Petty boots. Okay, anyway, Christy, go ahead. Sorry, y'all.
No, I thought it was really funny because it just reminded me of,
That's
right, like, I'm like, there must be something about that. Either that or he was like, you know what? I remember you from my last lifetime. I didn't like the way you treated me, so you know what? Payback.
There's a reason she's terrified of cats,
Right.
because she knows she got it coming.
Right.
Her soul remembers what she did last time.
Unfinished business. So today for part 2 of our Soul Contract series, we are going to discuss soulmates. And when most people think about soulmates, they like to think about their ideal romantic partner. You know, the type of person, that one person on this earth who you are meant to love. You know, it's like you have this, complete. Right, like you have this piece kind of carved out and the other person has that piece carved into them and you get together. It's like a puzzle piece. That is your soul contract, you know? Right. So that definition of soulmate. Be careful. Oh, you can't die before the retreat. But so the definition of a soulmate, I think a lot of people, 6 minutes. So a lot of people have a tendency to think that, you know, they think about the soulmate incorrectly. And I think that perspective is pretty limiting. And it's bigger and much simpler than that. Soulmates are basically, those are the people in your lives whom we connect to on a deep and spiritual level. It can be a platonic relationship. It can be a romantic relationship. You can have multiple soulmates, not just like one special one. But I will admit that my current relationship, he's my soulmate. I felt that. There's like this, I mean, we can talk about it later, but there's just this sense of, like this familiar spirit. Like, I know you. I know you.
So that is one of the main ways that you know someone is a soulmate. And again, it is not limited to a romantic relationship. I mean, like, seriously, like I'm like brothers and sisters or two sisters. Like, this is my soulmate. You know what I mean? Like, people it can come in any way, right? That's interesting. I just realized I feel like Jay might be my soulmate. A soulmate.
Well, I kind of think that
I know her.
Right. But I kind of feel like our children are.
Really? I don't know. I don't think everybody's children is their soulmate. I don't.
Because Kai, like with my daughter, I feel like in another lifetime she's been my mom.
See, yeah, I don't think other people. You know what I mean? I don't think it.
So you don't think that's the same for everyone?
Nope.
Interesting. What do you all think?
Let us know. Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And if you think about it from the perspective of a deep connection as opposed to just romantically. So there's a deep connection. Like,
or even like the sexual attraction too.
Know you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Because I feel like the soulmate attraction, or that energy that comes with the soulmate, it even goes beyond the physical attraction. It's like, you know, I know you.
No, yes, it to me, this it's like an essence. It's like my it's like, not only do I know you, like my spirit knows you, and so you know, this is more of the enlightening side. When we talked about the karmic relationships, if you haven't listened to that last episode, go listen. Take a peek at it. Whereas the karmic relationships are triggering, and trauma inducing. This is euphoria, highness, remembrance. It can be grounded. Like, this is, for the most part, feels really good. It's not up, down, up, down, up, down. It's cloud nine, floaty.
I feel like it's more balanced too. Like, those relationships are more balanced. You know, and then even if you do come across some issues or some challenges, it's like, okay, you work through them. It's like, all right, next. Whereas I feel like twin flames, And I'm just basing this off of
Yeah.
my experience, but twin flames is like up and down and up, and it's just all over the place. I feel like soulmates, you not to say that every relationship is perfect, but I do feel like it's more balanced for me.
I like that. I think that's a great way to describe it. That twin flame relationships are definitely,
it'll break you.
Up and down, up and down, up and down. By the way, that's going to be part 3 in this series, you guys. Are definitely up and down, up and down. This does feel more constant. I like that. It feels easier.
Yeah.
More
palatable. Especially when you're dealing with challenges in the relationship. It's like twin flame. It's like, will we ever get over this? But then soulmate, okay, no, we can get through this because we are.
That's right. It's this, yeah.
This is nothing.
Yeah.
We can get through
this. The ups and downs aren't as tragic.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? On the upside or the downside, it's much better. I would say it's a smoother ride.
Yeah.
So think about it, you guys. Remember, we're talking about different types of soul contracts. So they can be what we would call positive or negative. So regardless, we go into these soul contracts for the purpose of our own growth and expansion. For whatever it is that we came to learn in this wonderful school, and what did we come to remember or experience about ourselves. We made a contract with these people, these souls in our spiritual form before we arrived in this avatar to awaken each other in a way. And remember, it's about the intention. Your contract is not how you're going to do it. So that's why you have different type of soul contracts. Mm-hmm. So depending on how deep you need it, how hard you need it, whatever it comes into your life. And the reason I'm saying this, you guys, is because when you think of it like that, everything that has happened to you is for your greatest good.
Yeah. Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
This actually just came true for me. Because I'm always, at one point, I think, like in the beginning of my spiritual journey, which I really don't like using that term, but I'm just going to use it. I feel like I was a little obsessed with, soulmates, twin flames, all of that stuff. And then I finally just realized there's something to learn out of every relationship that we have. But one of the things that my guys just showed me, I wanted to just get your opinion on, is like twin flames. Both allow you to expand. Twin flame relationships, you expand through like passion, trauma. It's like heat and fire, you know. But soulmates, you expand through love and through awareness and through like understanding. And
I feel like soulmate is more flow.
Yeah, there you go.
I feel like a soulmate, if I could put an element to it, soulmate to me feels like water. And yes. Twin flame is fire. It's in the name, you know. So, but I like that description.
Yeah, that makes sense though. Soul mates, it's flowy like the water.
Exactly.
Right. So, I mean, as I was saying, so spiritually, soulmates can play a major role in your development, in your expansion, in your growth, in your learning of who you are. And it's possible, like we mentioned earlier, soulmates can be platonic, romantic, sexual in nature, but you can also have multiple soulmates. So there's not just one.
Exactly.
And I think that's the one thing that we need to really make sure that we emphasize, because I think a lot of, discussion online, they like to make you think that there's only one soulmate. There's that one person. I do feel like there is like this. You do have like these connections with people that might be stronger than others, but there's not just one soulmate.
I mean, Christy, think about it. to me, it kind of relieves the pressure a little bit so that people aren't out here trying to find the one soul in 8 billion on earth that connects with me. To know that I have several soulmates where I can feel flow in my life in different forms. I feel like that kind of relieves the pressure a little bit.
Yeah.
So there are different types of soulmates. So, soulmate relationships. Because, so we're going to kind of break down, or just at least break down a little bit and talk about the different types of soulmates. And how they would look in your lives, how they show up in your lives. When I was preparing for this episode, I started thinking about people in my life who, even if we're not in relationship at this, we're not in relationship, like say it's like an ex or an old friend or something. I started thinking about people who I didn't realize, but now that because I was thinking about this, that like a couple of these people were soulmates. When I think about how can I identify who was a soulmate, and when I look back on something, is the trajectory of my life changed. There's something that changed. If I had not had this experience with you, it's an obvious big, like you showed me something about myself, or you made me feel something, or you know what I mean? So I think it's made me really grateful. Like, man, I had some dope ass soulmates that really helped me see myself. So, which brings up our first one, which is the soulmates who are friends. So look, yeah, if you are lucky enough to have experienced a friend who is also a soulmate in this lifetime, man, okay, this is like that. Not your best friend, your bestest friend, like that one friend. This is that relationship, like that changed a lot. You know what I mean?
Or even the relationships where you don't have to talk to them every day.
No.
But then when you see them, it's like you picked up from the same place.
I think when I think about like friendships, for some reason, like soulmate friendships, I think about like the kid who felt different and awkward until they met this one person, and then they had someone like them, like, you know what I mean, and it felt easy. It's almost like one of those like rom-com type of like kids just really like, oh my goodness, there's like everybody makes fun of me for like an anime. I don't know, I'm just making up something, and then you find that one person who you guys like the same things. So this is kind of like that. So a best friend who's a non-soulmate, you guys connect because you have similar personalities and tastes. Whereas that might be how you attracted somebody, but when it's a soulmate that's a friend, you guys have similar dreams, values, and ambitions. There is an alikeness spiritually. There are things that you don't have to say. What's known doesn't have to be explained very much, So when you think about what type of soul contract so Chrissy, why do you think what type of soul contract you would have with a soulmate that's a friend?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. I was just thinking about that. So honestly, I feel like soulmates who are friends are the type of friends who support you and who are ride or die, who cheer you on, who push you to be your best self, who understand your weaknesses but help you to get over them, who see the best version of you and help you to get there. Like, I feel like those are the types of friends.
And
who are soulmates.
So I feel like
what say you?
So remember, soul contracts are based on the intention of what you came to learn, not how you're going to learn it. So I feel like when I think about friends, soulmates, it's like I needed to feel like I belong. I needed to see myself. I needed to see how funny I am, how cute I am, because you see, like that type of best friend is like the best parts of me. I can actually see them playing out loud in front of me, and it makes me feel like I belong. That because sometimes in this journey, you guys, it feels so alone when you're trying to discover the uniqueness of who you are.
Man.
And get to just that special place that special place where you're like, oh, this is me. This is okay. I get it. And sometimes we need to be able to be shown that we're not alone. That there is a reason and a space for us. So it's like I almost feel like best friends who are soulmates are like our oases in this journey. Like I just need a minute to, and it's like, oh my God, right here is so easy and this feels so good and it fills me up and it makes me remember, like, I'm good.
Yeah.
That's to me is how I feel like what a best, you know what I mean? Like that intention of what, like a best friend who is like a soulmate.
Mm-hmm. I
It's
feel like those relationships.
I'm not gonna let you fail, baby. I got you. I don't care how, you know what I mean? I gotta keep it funky with you. It's like they can, show, like you can see the best in you through them.
Mm-hmm. I think to me, they feel very, very nurturing too.
Yeah.
So, all right. So that's soulmates who are friends. Let's talk about soulmates who are guides or teachers.
Yes.
And so these soulmates are here to help us. Help us learn lessons and guide us on our path. And she's the one that taught me this, Noah. But so our soulmates who are guides or teachers, they can also be physical or spiritual soulmates, and they can come in the form of actual teachers or family friends, frenemies, etc. So the woman that I go to, that I've been seeing actually since like 2005, I would see her for energy work. She would always towards the end of the beginning of my spiritual awakening, she was like, Christy, why are you doing this to yourself? And it kind of explained to her. And then we had this conversation about soulmates, and she taught me a lot. And she said, Christy, they got that wrong. Soulmates, it's not just one person. It's I'm your soulmate. Your friends are your soulmate. People who are a part of your life, who are an important, integral part of your life, those are your soulmates. And of course, from each relationship, we learn something from them. Do you have a guide or like a teacher that was a soulmate for you? Spiritually?
Right. No, I think several. The interesting thing is I don't think they necessarily came in the form of I am your teacher. Knowing me, I probably wouldn't have gotten the lesson at that time if I thought somebody was coming to tell me, like, first of all, I didn't ask you. Run along. So when in hindsight, it's a little comical to me because it's like, I knew myself when I set this up and I knew what type of personality that I would have. But when I look at so many of my friendships that I would consider to be soulmates, they are probably, I have more on the teacher guides of people friends. But not, I'm telling you that this is what I am. But when I look back, it's like, damn, you did that, I'm starting, and I also think I got to a certain point where I started really looking at all of my relationships and instead of looking at it from whether it was a positive or negative experience, look at who I became from that relationship.
That's actually that's a good point.
It's time. So when you look at who you are because of the relationships that you've had, whether or not you look at them as a positive or negative experience, and you look at it from the perspective of how have I expanded because of this relationship, all of them are good.
Yeah. And I think that's also important. Again, we talk about mastery of self all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of the focal points of our retreat is to awaken and activate that part of that part of ourselves. But I think once you really start to understand who you are, then you'll start to be more aware and more conscious of how the way that you interact with other people, how that influences you, how that makes you feel. If that makes you like, does that expand you as a spiritual being? Does that allow you to grow? Does that make you feel safe and secure to explore different areas? Like you'll start to pick those things up. You'll start to realize like, oh, okay, this person really allows me to explore who I am. They accept me for who I am. I can be my true authentic self. I think that's another thing with being with someone who's like a soulmate. You are free to be you. You are free to be yourself. No judgment.
And as a matter of fact, it feels best to be.
Mm-hmm.
If it
silly,
almost like
goofy.
you can't not be.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Another type of soulmate is companions. Well, and okay, let's just say this is closest to what most people think soulmates are.
Mm-hmm.
This soulmate sees you. Mm-hmm. This is probably more of what this romantic attraction magnet. I feel like in other type of soul contract relationships that are romantic, this one is where that is, but there's like this chaser runner dynamic in those type of relationships because they're triggering. And this is this person sees you, and sometimes before you can see yourself
and feels you.
Like, I mean, when I say sees you, like they see that there is an adoration. There is oh my goodness, you can't see how beautiful, how wonderful you are. It's that they just get you. And whatever it is that you got going on that they want all of it. And it feels very good. This is more of like a euphoric thing to me. You know what I mean? So sometimes it can get a little too high. But this is the type of love you feel with this is more uplifting. Mm-hmm. This is harmony. This is, one band, one sound. So if I think about the intention of a soulmate, like, like romantically, it is you intended to know what it feels like to be loved and seen. Mm-hmm. You guys, like, it's amazing to me how we have to, some of us, including myself, have to work so hard to understand, to receive, and something that we want so bad. But it's like you're imbalanced when you only know how to give. That's not a badge of honor. You unbalanced, goofy ass. You know what I mean? This is me talking to myself. Like, seriously. You are blocking your feminine energy for real when you don't allow yourself to be a receptor of love. Mm-hmm. You cannot give from an empty cup. If you do not allow someone to pour in your cup to receive love the way in all forms, then you're blocking your own mission. Yeah. So this is the type of energy is that's what you wanted in life, where if you had an intention to I want to know what it feels like to be seen and loved.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So also just going back to the soulmate piece, I think a lot of times we think that when we find our soulmate that they complete us, but we're already complete. And I think the reason why let me see if I can explain this, because I heard this somewhere. The reason why we feel like they make us complete is because we are coming across this familiar spirit again, and it's like, oh my gosh, like, where have you been? Like, now it's this connection, but you are already whole. It's just that feeling of this familiar spirit that you are, that you just know. So anyway,
I was going to say, I think that one of the reasons soulmates feel like they complete us, even though, like Chrissy said, we're already complete, is because having interacted with them, they wake up a piece of us that we hadn't remembered, something beautiful about us. So we will relate it to, when this person came into my life, I realized how worthy I was. I remembered how beautiful I was. And we will sometimes attach it to that person instead of saying all they did was awaken what already existed within you. And that's why I said, like, sometimes we can get really twisted in these soulmate relationships, but they are just the same as the other relationships there for our transformation.
Yeah. They're all for a purpose.
So that's why I think sometimes it feels like this is the completion of me. I didn't know myself until you came around.
Yeah.
No, they just awoke it and they just put sunshine on it and showed it to you. It's not theirs, it's yours.
And then I will say too, for soulmate, like companionships or relationships, it's almost like you feel like it's a reflection of you.
Yes.
So I'm in a heterosexual relationship, and I feel like my partner is a reflection of me. Not to say that we are very similar, because we're not. We do have some things that bring us together, that connect us, but there is something in him that reflects to me that it mirrors back who I am, and we want each other. It's like we are each other's mirrors, but it's in a good way. It's in a goodness, flowy way.
When I move, you move.
Just like that.
There you go.
And it's not like, pushing you over the edge. Like, what is it? Come close because I'm close. Whatever the song is, but close to the edge. No. Anyway, it'll come.
I know that's probably not the name of that song.
No.
Don't push me. That's what you're talking about.
Yes, I'm close to the edge. That's Twin Flame.
I knew the song wasn't. I didn't know what you were talking about, but I knew that's what it was. It was not called Close to the Edge. I didn't
know the title. I was like, but just the words. But no, that I feel like that is Twin Flame right there.
Girl. We're gonna have this. So that means, you guys, when we do this Twin Flame episode,
some of you all are in those in a Twin Flame relationship. It's time to let go of.
I'm tired. And that's the thing. That's why we're going to talk about it, because this is interesting. Because sometimes you do have to let go. Because all twin flame relationships experience separation.
That's interesting.
But we're gonna have a very interesting conversation. Woo, child! This one is a good one. So next week. Stay tuned.
Next week. Yep.
All right.
What's your takeaway? You have temple work today?
You know what? Honestly, I think it might be a good time, you guys, to energetically, or if you don't mind putting it in your journals, think about some of the soulmates in your life. And if you are still in touch with them, tell them thank you. If not, write a little note in your journal. It's like, man, just remind. It's gratitude to yourself too for setting your soul contracts up so beautifully, so that you've been able to experience some of those highs too.
I love that. That's some nice temple work. Yeah, now I'm going to start thinking about my relationships and And honestly, I feel like some relationships just fill your time. They don't, I mean, they might have served a purpose for other things, but I don't know that in terms of lessons to learn. I mean, would you say because I think about No Car, No Phone. That was a filler.
Interesting.
That relationship served, the only purpose it served was the midnight lover.
No, there has to be. Well, I'm not saying there has to be. So this is actually a good question that we might need to do a little dive into in another episode. Do all relationships have some type of purpose in your life, or are there filler relationships?
I know I've had some
fillers. I gotta think about that one. Because I'm inclined to say, I'm going to say, no, everything has a purpose and a reason. But if I could figure out what, I want to think about what purpose is a filler. What, you know what I mean? What does a filler relationship, what purpose does that show you? So anyway,
no phone. We can talk about it afterwards. No car, no phone. That was definitely a filler relationship.
What's our crystal?
Ooh, the crystal. Ooh, the crystal of this week is morganite. The element is water. It is an amazing crystal for the heart chakra. So this crystal, first of all, this full moon energy, make sure you all are putting your crystals out. The energy will still be out there by the time this comes out. But
y'all I posted my crystal layout.
You should share that.
I did. I put it up. I posted it. Mm-hmm.
So morganite cleanses and energizes the heart and the emotional body, and this crystal opens and clears the heart chakra and promotes healing over the emotions of the heart. So if you are seeking a soulmate relationship, this crystal helps to identify the attitudes of past wounds and habitual relationship patterns that may be standing in the way of you finding that soul partner. So you can work with this crystal to help to get past those obstacles. And then this crystal is a heart activating crystal, which will allow you to align closer to the loving energies of higher entities, enabling you to feel supported by spirit on the emotional level. So this is a crystal for those of you, if you are wanting to connect more with your soul mates, because there's plural, I think this is a really great crystal to work with. And also if you feel that maybe you have some heart work that you need to focus on or tackle, I think this is a really great crystal to work on. And also if you want to open up your heart, you should attend our retreat, because we're going to have a cacao ceremony there with Brisa, and she's going to open up your heart. So that is it for the crystal of the week.
Yes. Thank you.
Yes, thank you all for listening to Two Queens and Crystal Things. Quickly, if we forgot last month or last episodes, I just wanted to do a quick shout out for P and for Simone for sending us some money to buy some wine, supporting the podcast and the content that we are putting out there. Thank you so much.
We really appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And you all enjoy the rest of your evening. Share this podcast with someone else that you think could use it. And be sure to follow us.
Go to our website.
Yep.
twoqueensandcrystalthings.com. Bing, bing.
Thank you. Light, peace,
love, and
soul.